Hi everyone. Please let me know on the chat if I am live, if the sound is fine, if the video is okay, if you enjoy what you're seeing, if you're seeing anything. Hi Adrian, you are live, etc. Very good. It's all good. Yes, yes, yes. Hi everyone. I'm not sure if you can hear the bells, but one of the church in the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem is telling us that this is the time, that's the time to begin. And we are in the windy Jerusalem. We are very close to the old city. We're just about to enter the old city. And before we start entering, oh, you can. Fantastic. That's good, very good. So before we get down to the tour, let me explain what's going to happen. Wish I knew. I mean, of course I know. So many ifs and buts. Why? Because we are heading to the old city. Hi everyone. Hello, hello. We're heading to the old city. And the old city is old, right? So the connectivity there is appalling. Not just just a 3G signal. I mean, it's okay. Your telephones can work. You can give a call. You can WhatsApp and stuff. But it, in most cases, not enough for YouTube. That's why I only choose the Jewish Quarter for live streams, because the Jewish Quarter, because of its history, it has the connectivity, because it's it was rebuilt in the 20th century. But whereas everything else is mostly the Ottoman period, and not only Ottoman, but mostly Ottoman, and it's big, heavy stones, very thick ones, and signal just doesn't come through, or doesn't come through enough. But I don't want just only boil down this tour to the Jewish Quarter per se. I want the diversity. That's what I love Jerusalem for. So the cradle of the three religions, and I want to show you a little bit of everything. That's why I'm starting here by the Jaffa Gate. Let me switch camera and start the tour. The old city. For those of you who have seen my tours on the city walls and everything, this is going to be just a repetition, and repetition is learning as well. It's going to be easy to catch. The walls, the current walls of the old city, were built in the Ottoman times, as well as many buildings, not many. The way the layout of the streets, it's the Ottoman times. Yes, Ottomans built on top of something else, on top of Crusade, on top of Mamluk architecture. But in a nutshell, still we can say this is a very much Ottoman period. Jaffa Gate are called so because, sorry, tears. Because exactly through Jaffa Gate, the pilgrims, the travelers, the settlers would enter Jerusalem, because they would come by sea. And they would go all the way from Jaffa port to Jerusalem and enter through these gates. That's what we are going to do as well. Pay attention to the architecture. Obviously, every now and then signal may drop. And once it happens, I will try to get back on tour, and hopefully it will work like it has worked before. But you never know. For some reason though, I could have entered through this big opening, but I didn't, because I wanted to also show my respect to the old city, just like General Allenby did, unlike Kaiser Wilhelm II in the very end of the 19th century. Yes, that was hallelujah. Exactly. So I entered through this opening, through the normal gates, right? But this was done for Kaiser Wilhelm. As you remember my tours, it was done for Kaiser Wilhelm when he visited, because he came with quite an entourage, with dozens and dozens of chariots filled up with stuff, with lots of diplomats, guards, chefs, doctors, and what not. Where are we now? Actually, we are in the Christian Quarter. The Christian Quarter, there is a car park there, so it's not very convenient, but maybe, just maybe, I will be able to show you a few things. Okay, we'll do it like that, who cares? So that's the layout. That's the 4 quarters over here. Oh. So, Muslim Quarter, the Temple Mount where I was in the morning, right? And then over here, the Christian Quarter, Armenian Quarter, and Jewish Quarter over there. There will be other opportunities, but I wanted to first make sure we all understand where we are on the map. So we have entered through there, and this is the Jaffa Gate. There you go. The big hole on the map shows the big hole in the wall. That's exactly the case.
By the way, you speak English?
Yes, sorry, I'm working. And in the hi everyone, good to see you. And the Christian Quarter is obviously full of churches. On a live tour, I cannot enter a church and start, streaming from there. This is not possible. But I can do it on my pre-recorded tours, and that's what I've been doing for the past 3 tours. And episode 4 is also scheduled. The Christian Quarter is here famous for its Imperial Hotel. It was the first 5-star hotel built in the relatively recent times, that is 19th century, in mid-19th century, when the Ottomans allowed pilgrimage and purchase of lands. So this hotel was built for very rich pilgrims. Imagine, we're talking about let's say, somewhat 1880s. They already had running water, electricity there. Just it costs an arm and a leg, and probably someone else's arm and someone else's leg. Just that. And if I zoom in, there are signs. Look, this is letter F, Greek letter. This is the sign that this is the property of Greek Orthodox Patriarchate, which is one of the Christian entities represented in the Christian Quarter. Speaking of my Christian Quarter tours, hopefully in a week from now I will be taking you. I don't know. I'm sure we will see more lions. Can't promise the pedicure. For those who missed the previous tour, you gotta have to watch it, because I showed you the places that we have never visited before on a live tour, never ever. And the highlight of the tour was definitely the lions with the pedicure. Exactly. So speaking of the Christian Quarter, in a week from now, I'm hoping to be able to take you to the Holy Sepulchre Church on the pre-recorded tour. What is this? Soon we will be leaving the Christian Quarter. So as I said, I will not be entering these quarters, because you will lose me, or it will be so patchy that everyone will be pissed off. So we don't want for this to happen. So at least we can see a bit of everything else. What is this here? Well, this is the famous museum now called Tower of David. It has nothing to do with King David. I guess the hotel that I showed you, the King David Hotel, has a lot more to do with King David than this place. But the Crusaders identified this place as the palace of King David, which in fact was the palace of Herod the Great. Herod the Great, sorry it's loud, it's a lot of cars, but that's how it works here. That's how it always will be here. So Herod the Great built himself the palace here in the 1st century BCE. But he didn't build that minaret. He didn't, because he wasn't Muslim. Islam wasn't even born then. There would be still 7 centuries to go. But Herod passed away. And Holy Land after that would change hands so many times. But his property was never wasted. And it would always be a big fortification place located next to one of the entrances, which is the Jaffa Gate, right? So whenever there is a gate, it means this is the weakest part that needs extra fortification. So there was this castle and fortress, citadel. Citadel is a way better name. So the museum, in fact, tells you the story, the history of Jerusalem. It's called the Tower of David. But this is not the Tower of David. This is the citadel. That also includes the ruins of the palace of Herod the Great. I know Jerusalem is complicated, complex, complicated, sophisticated, whatever word applies, it works for me because it's true. And now, Anna, so that's me, I'm taking you, why on earth would I talk about myself in third person? I guess just sleep deprivation. We have left the Christian quarter. And if you remember, so it's Christian quarter, Armenian quarter, Jewish quarter, Temple Mount, Muslim quarter. So from the Christian quarter, we're heading to the Armenian quarter. And you can easily say that you are in the Armenian quarter because because it's written Armenia, but it's not even about that. It's about these beautiful tiles, beautiful ceramics that you will find plenty of them here in the Armenian quarter. These beautiful tiles, the tiles you can see also even on the architecture is stunning, Reda. You are very right. All the buildings are built from or clad, depending on when they were built, in the Jerusalem stone, which is a local limestone. That's a tradition. The interesting story about the ceramics, the Armenian ceramics, if you go to Armenia, and if you remember, I did a couple of tours in Yerevan last year, then you may remember we hadn't seen a single tile like that, a single item with a beautiful ceramic decoration like this one. That's because this type of art, this type of ceramics was invented and created by the Armenian community that actually lived on the territory of the Ottoman Empire. Before they would be ousted from there and before more than 1 million of Armenians would be killed in the genocide. Isn't it gorgeous? I think I need a selfie here. I mean, who wouldn't, right? I mean, who wouldn't? Could you please help me with that? I mean, it's here for selfies. Clearly, there's no any other reason for it to be here. It should be selfies. So, but we go on. Now, this is actually a serious tour, right? We're talking here about history. So why on earth do we, okay, we understand why there is a Christian quarter, there is a Muslim, Jewish, Christian quarter, but why Armenian quarter? Like, it kind of doesn't make sense because there is already a Christian quarter. Aren't Armenians Christians? They are Christians, but they are very different Christians. In what way? They are distinctly different. They have distinctly different, several different practices. They have different concepts, understanding of the nature of Jesus. And also because the Armenians was the first nation to recognize and convert to Christianity and take it as their official state religion. And they were here ever since that, which is 301, Common Era. And the Armenian community has been here ever since then. And that's why they got their quarter. I think well deserved. Well deserved. Some Armenian letters, some Armenian designs. Oh, I like this rimonim. I like this pomegranates. And rimonim, pomegranates is one of the symbols of New Year. So because this is the season for the for the for pomegranates. So it's the Rosh Hashanah. It's honey, apples, and pomegranates that you would always see on the table for Rosh Hashanah, for the Jewish New Year. I'm going through a very impressive archway, and you may lose me at some point, but not, oh my goodness. Okay, we have to stop here. The thing is, this road is very narrow. Just one car can hardly come through, and everyone else gets squeezed into the walls, but that's Jerusalem, baby. And just don't drive here. Only locals, only people who live here or work here, or taxi drivers, they are crazy enough. Everything else, no. Meaning well, obviously, you do understand what I'm saying. With all due respect, it's just very difficult to drive here, and who knows? Things may have been a little bit more pedestrian friendly had there not been this opening in the Jewish quarter. I'm sorry, in the Jaffa walls, but in the Jaffa. Yeah, I warned everyone about the bad connection that it might happen. So I disappeared. Now I'm back. And in case we forgot, we are in the Armenian quarter. Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience. Like, I'm in no control of the situation. I'm choosing the most open spaces. Yes, I know I am back. But there's something I want to show you. This is also the territory of the Armenian quarter, but this is also a parking lot. I don't think they will let me film here. I don't think so, but of course. A couple years ago, they did some excavations there, and under the parking lot, they discovered the ruins of the palace of Herod the Great. So the palace of Herod the Great was mostly here in the corner. So over there, under the parking lot, there was the palace of Herod the Great. But further down over there, it would be, well, also palace. It was huge, and also the fortifications and everything in the courtyard, and you get the story. So we're walking all the way from there, and this is what I highly recommend to see: the Armenian Museum. Edward and Helen Mardigan Armenian Museum. So this is the American Armenians, Armenian American. Okay, this is the Armenian couple that from America that donated a great sum of money and collected a great deal of different artifacts about the life of the Armenian community, and also they purchased for the museum one of the oldest printing presses for books. For book print press. It's dates. I think it's the 15th century. It dates back to the 15th century. I haven't been to the museum myself because it reopened quite recently after a long restoration, and I'm not sure whether this time I will be able to go there because my schedule is a bit more hectic than I expected. You see, we are just walking down the road. It might look here. You see stones. You see joined. So it should be fine. So this is one of the walls you can walk. Actually, you can walk. Well, you can't make the complete circle. You cannot walk through the whole. The whole perimeter of the walls, unfortunately, but there are sections you cannot visit, such as the walls of the Temple Mount, because the Temple Mount, wall of the Temple Mount, is also wall of the old city, plus the opening in the Jaffa Gate. So, but there are two walks you can take. You can take northern and you can take southern ramparts walk, and you will find yourself on top of the old city, and you will be able to see a lot more, including what's hidden in the Armenian quarter. Now we're leaving the old city. That's it. The tour is done. I'm joking. Of course I'm joking. I just want to show you something else that I normally can do, which I haven't shown you before on a live tour of Jerusalem. Because I get tired, I get bored showing you one and the same things. Just Jewish quarter. So what? There is something else quite interesting. This is the Zion Gate. They're called Zion Gate because the Mount Zion, the one that was defined by Crusaders as Mount Zion, is, well, let's put it like that. The tradition, it goes back from those days, from the Crusader times, so Mount Zion. But in fact, the whole Jerusalem is called Mount Zion as well in the Jewish narrative and in different sources. So it's kind of Zion is more of a poetic thing, I would say. It's more than just a name of a mount. It's something more than that, kind of a concept. But so that hence the name of this gate. And as you can see, these gates have a story to share. Well, first of all, you see the address, you see the Arabic inscriptions. So this is just the dedication. But the gate itself, all those holes and hollows and marks, scratches, it's from the 1948 war, when I told you on my previous tour that Jordanians occupied the entire old city, including the Jewish quarter. So the army of Israel could not enter. They tried, and those are the traces, the memories of those attempts to break through, but that didn't happen. Here we are already in the Jewish quarter. So the Zion Gates is the quickest way, one of the quickest ways, not the only one, to visit the Jewish quarter. And ahead of us, if I zoom in, so it only seems there's nothing to talk about and nothing to see. Just give me a minute. Well, this is the famous Mount of Olives, which is, for a big part, it's the Jewish cemetery. Ever since 3,000 years ago or so. And it also has a lot of Christian sites, because in Christian narrative, Mount of Olives is also a very important mountain, because this in both narratives, it is believed Messiah would be coming from the Mount of Olives. That's why all the graves are there. Those are the people who want to be there, the first one to be resurrected. Parking lot, just in case you decide to come with a car. Okay, there is a parking lot. I'm not sure how expensive it is, but it must be very expensive. But since I don't highly recommend, because in the old city it's still, you're going to be walking and walking and walking and walking, and you have to be very careful walking, because these stones, this pavement is very tricky. So look, we've been able to walk through 2 gates. It's been less than 30 minutes. We've walked through 2 gates. We've seen 3 quarters. We've seen a little bit of the Christian quarter, we've seen a bit of the Armenian quarter, and now we are in the Jewish quarter. Speaking of the Muslim quarter, I showed you a minaret in the Tower of David. So the Tower of David, in fact, it was a minaret from the Ottoman times, and most probably even from the Mamluk times, which preceded the Ottomans, which is 700 years ago from now. I think we'll go that way for an epic entry. No, we'll go that way because that's also an epic entry. Both ways are fine, but I think this one will kind of give you an interesting perspective, I would say, a little bit from above. Plus you get to see the homes of the wealthy Jewish families that have their property here. So it's important to remember that the old city is residential quarter. People live here. Not so many, about 40,000, but still, and it's not cheap, and it has a lot of challenges. but it's the old city, and that matters. Sometimes all that matters. And the reason why the connectivity here is way better because of that war, because of that occupation by Jordan. The Jewish quarter was destroyed almost completely. That's why after 1967 war, when Jerusalem was liberated, they came to the ruins and they started rebuilding the city. I mean the state of Israel, right? The Israeli army and the people of Israel. And they discovered the ruins. They discovered archaeology here. And what we are looking at, so as I said, I'm not sure what they're doing here. There is a guy there on the stretchers. It looks like a drill or something. I don't know. They don't look too scared. I don't know what's going on here. I wish I could take you there underground and into that passageway over there. And as we walk, you will be seeing also you will see this area from all the sides. So you will see more. So this is the ruins of a street, of a corridor, of a Roman street, going from north to south, or south north. And this is the street from the both sides of which used to be shops. So this is the Byzantine period architecture here. Just to remind you of the timeline, for those who haven't done many tours with me, or those who just tend not to keep all the unnecessary details, the necessary information in their minds, I will just explain once again. So the narrative is pretty simple. Let's say that up until 135 Common Era, a lot of Jews had lived in Jerusalem and had always lived before that, apart from about 50 years of Babylonian exile after the first temple was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. Jews were taken to Babylon, and then they were able to return after another king, Cyrus the Great. But other than that, Jews had always lived in Jerusalem. But then in the first in the 3rd century, 4th century, before Common Era, came the Greeks that started imposing a Hellenistic culture. Then came the Romans in the 2nd century before Common Era, and they started imposing even more of the Hellenistic culture. And the Jewish identity, the Jewish people were undergoing a lot of stress and challenges, and the Jewish faith was undergoing a lot of challenges. In the end, there were revolts against the Romans. And in the end of one of those, the result of one of those events, the temple was destroyed. I mean, the second temple already. And then a little later, after another revolt, the entire Jerusalem was erased and rebuilt, was razed and rebuilt as a pagan city, Aelia Capitolina. And ever since then, first it was Roman and then Byzantine. So this street has been here since Emperor Hadrian, since the 2nd century, Common Era. That's pretty cool. And so we can see how down below it is, how much lower we are, just the modern layer, right? Modern ground level. That's archaeology. Let's see what else we've got in here in the Jewish quarter. So what else was discovered? Bunch of things were discovered, absolutely bunch of things. Well, I like this open air exhibition of all sorts of columns and capitellis of columns. This is, for example, a Crusader period. I can tell you it's so-called elbow column. That's very significant, very typical Crusader period architectural thing. I don't know what's the other way to explain it. So that's what the Crusaders invented. Just an interesting way of decorating and designing, obviously, the columns. All sorts of different lintels and decorations from the various periods. Again, the biggest challenge is that it's not so easy to date the stones. You can't really run carbon-14 test with non-organic material, and stones are non-organic material. So that's a big challenge. And the stones were used for the second time, for the third time, right? So it's secondary use. So that's a big challenge. But there are ways, there are ways to do that. Speaking of destruction, we're looking at a ruin. Like Anna. Are you okay, Anna? Are you fine? I am very much fine. I enjoy guiding in Jerusalem very much. But we are looking at the ruin because Hurva is translated as, well, the ruin. Of course, this is not the original name of the synagogue. When the first synagogue was built, and that happened way before the Ottomans allowed pilgrimage full scale, way before. This happened in the 18th century. So the first group of Ashkenazi Jews headed by a rabbi, they came to Jerusalem, and they managed to purchase the land, kind of take a loan, and they promised to pay back to the Ottomans by a certain time, but they didn't. And that's when Ottomans said, well, no, that's not going to work, and they destroyed the synagogue. Then it was rebuilt in the 19th century when the bigger pilgrimage already started to take place, and you get the idea. So the synagogue was rebuilt, but when 1948 war started, under Jordanian occupation, well, you get the idea what happened. So the synagogue was destroyed, and only this arch was standing, and it was kind of a window into the nowhere. So the synagogue reopened just several years ago, and I even did a tour of the synagogue once, and I might even be able to do it again. And it's totally fine that in a Jewish quarter you can find a mosque, or in a Christian quarter you can find a mosque. It's totally okay, because in fact the quarter division, so to speak, and there should be another map somewhere here, but I don't see it. Maybe they're replacing them. Well, if I see them, I'll definitely take you to the map. No, I don't see it here. Well, anyway. Wow. You see, people live here, there are schools here, people go to school here, people go to work, people go to their synagogues and stuff. And that's another synagogue that we haven't actually talked about before, because for a long time it was also really badly damaged, and I'm not sure whether it's reopened, but it's definitely about to reopen. It's called Tiferet Israel. That's another synagogue. But okay, Anna, well, just in case, that's the name of the street. Tiferet Israel, that's the name of the synagogue too, Tiferet Israel. But Anna, how is it possible that Jews came and built this synagogue in the Jewish quarter, and they didn't have enough money, and that's why it was destroyed? How is this possible? It is very possible, because the Jews that had lived here before these Ashkenazi Jews came, they were Sephardi, Mizrahi Jews, which is the Jews coming from Africa, and also the Levant region, right? Sorry for the glare. Should be better now. And they were not really, they were considered the outsiders. They were considered foreigners. Nobody really wanted to deal with them. They look different, they dress different, so they did not really find a community. And that was a big deal, a very big deal. As you see, I'm lowering my phone because I don't want to film people. Especially religious people are very careful about that, so I don't want to invade their privacy or whatsoever. There is always some construction going on. Actually, they are trying to build an elevator here, so we wouldn't have to take these crazy steps all the way up and down. But so far, we have to do that. This is a good view over the Mount of Olives, and you can see the beautiful colors of the setting sun. The sunset is, I think, in about 30 minutes or so, but here are the ruins of a Crusader period church, or at least the compound. So I was talking about shortly before that, that it's okay to find a mosque in the Jewish quarter. It's okay to find a mosque in the Christian quarter. That's because the modern division is, well, it's from the Ottoman times. Yes, it also took some time for it to shape, but in fact the quarters didn't really look like that originally. So it's more of an administrative division. It's not really about adherence to this or that religious group, but obviously in terms of population. But I hope not. Okay, it's been not so easy, but hopefully I am back, and now that we won't be surrounded with thicker walls, it will be okay. Please let me know if I'm live. I don't want to be going down, because from here we have the amazing view overlooking the Temple Mount, the Mount of Olives, and a bunch of other places too. Please let me know. I'm waiting for your messages on the chat. Sorry for that. I know it's getting on the nerves, but this is the only way for me to know that I am talking to someone, but not to myself. Good, very good, very good. Thank you so much for your patience. You see in the view, this is amazing. So what you're seeing is the Al-Aqsa Mosque dome, the blue one dome that definitely needs some renovation. That's the Al-Aqsa Mosque. The golden dome we will see shortly is the Dome of the Rock. And as I said this morning, at 7 in the morning, I was already on the Temple Mount filming it for you. So we are heading on a tour of the Temple Mount, but pre-recorded obviously, because there are a lot of restrictions with regards to visiting the Temple Mount for non-Muslims. So that's why let's get down to the visit. One more thing, and I'll just do that filming myself. So right now I'm going downstairs to show you a couple of places, and then I will be taking you to the Kotel, to the Western Wall. In order to get to the Western Wall, I need to pass this security check. I cannot film the security guys there, obviously. Let me find myself in a more open space, so it's probably gonna be easier for me to talk. Okay, so once again, I'm on my way to the Temple Mount. Okay, am I back? I'm in the open space. Let me show you. So there are no buildings here. This should be fine. My phone shows me the full bar, but yeah, okay. So let me explain what's going to happen here. Again, this is beyond my control. There's not much I can do. What I can do, probably stand up here so you could see the the golden dome of the rock, and also the kotel from here, the western wall plaza over there, and it's already getting quite crowded, but it's nothing compared to what's going to happen here in a couple of hours. No, in about 5 hours the whole place will be swarming with people, because they would come frostly hot, right? But we'll talk about it. So what is going to happen now? I'm on my way to the entrance, the checkpoint to the Temple Mount. Oh, sorry, to the Temple Mount and to the Western Wall. I'm not going to the Temple Mount because the visiting hours for non-Muslims are already over for today. But, and I've already been there. So I'm taking you to the Western Wall. Is it still cutting off? Okay, I'm walking. All good. Okay, good. So I'm cutting off, but not for everyone, which is fantastic. So while I will have to go through the security check at some point, they didn't allow filming. Obviously, I won't be filming the guys at the checkpoint. So you'll have to just wait. Okay? I haven't figured out how to do that. Oh, sorry. That's not. This is exit. Sorry. Should have gone the other way, but I got so carried away with this connectivity issue that I was totally just distracted. Okay, so we go that way. I will show you a couple of things interesting in archaeology on the way to this security check, and then security check and the Western Wall. That's where we're going to hang out for a while. That's it. So the steps are over, which is incredible. I'm so happy about it, but going down is way easier than going up. Not far from here, by the way, is another gate, which is definitely the speediest, the closest to the... Melanie, thank you so much for your tips. Thank you. I am getting the workout all the time. Absolutely. Which is not bad. Actually, I've already done this a couple of times today for a number of reasons. So I'm having a very active day and I'm enjoying it immensely. So look at the colors of the sky, look at the Mount of Olives, look at the Temple Mount, the southwestern corner of the Temple Mount. We explored this. We might have a siren just in case. It depends on if it's gonna be intercepted or not. It's gonna be fun. So just get early notifications whether there will be siren or not. We don't know. It depends on where the rocket goes. And that's the launch from Yemen, from the Houthis. How fun, right? Anyway, so we go on because we might not get a siren. So I'm just warning you, okay? Yeah. So what we see here is the corner of the southwestern wall, and this is the wall of the Temple Mount. And all this crazy archaeology here was excavated again in the second half of the 20th century only. This is amazing. This is like a phyllo pastry, and these are the big blocks of stones over there are from Herod times, but the stones on top of it are from all the following periods. But actually over there you can walk on the pavement from the times of Jesus, and we did it on a pre-recorded tour. So that's quite incredible. That's quite incredible. So now we're going to pass through the security check. It's going to take some time for sure. And I need to scan all the bags. Dorley, it might be the Gushdan, so you might get the sirens. Not sure about myself. So what I'm going to do now I'm going to place my phone, hand in my bags. Please bear with me, okay? There are a lot of people that need to be here. I will place my phone like that. צבע אדום? צבע אדום. עוד כמה דקות. בעוד כמה דקות is going to be a siren. Okay, give me a second. Okay. So yeah, there's going to be an azaka. Oh, this is interesting. We are by the kotel, and there's going to be an azaka. Shalom. אני יכולה? Okay. Where is the mikraf magen? It's going to be a azaka.
azaka?
Yes.
יש azaka?
Yes.
יש azaka?
איפה?
הולך להיות azaka?
עכשיו. Okay, am I live? Please tell me if I'm live. No sirens so far, but sirens in the center. This is absolutely crazy, guys. I hope you're not getting siren because I don't know where to run here. Oh no, I know. I'm a tour guide, so I know. I all of a sudden remembered I'm a tour guide. So, if Dolly is not here, she's probably getting the sirens. No, but just imagine this. Sirens! We are getting sirens. Ridiculous! There you go. Now you know what it's like. Now you know what it's like. We're going to a protected space. You will probably lose me. You will probably lose me. I will explain later what's going on. But these people are not afraid. Just in case. Okay. Yeah, you heard the sirens, but can you see all these people? The people that are not afraid. Incredible, right? They are sending missiles and these people are not afraid. Incredible. So now you know what it's like. Now you know what it feels like. But I have never been around the Jerusalem and the Temple Mount and the Western Wall. Absolutely fascinating. Look at all that. Now we have to, after recital, we have to wait for about 10 minutes because of the shrapnel after the... We're still waiting. We're still waiting. I can't hear anything because these girls yell so loudly. But I'm so happy for. Okay. So hopefully now I'm back. I'll wait for a sign from you on the chat. Anna, you're live. I'm back. Okay. So, what's going on? We had a siren. The moment I entered the praying plaza and went through the security check, we had a siren. So a missile was launched at Israel from the Yemenites, from the Houthis, from Yemen. And it was intercepted, but the siren went off and we had to go to the protected space. So I know where the protected space is. And well, we went there. What you could hear, what you could see, I'm not sure to which extent you could hear and see. But what I saw was, I don't know, a gazillion of girls, religious girls, that sang songs, patriotic songs, as they went into the shelter because they are not afraid. They are, of course, being reasonable and sensible, and they go to the protected space. But you can't scare Israelis, not like that, okay? So yes, that's what a siren is. That's what a siren is. So I'm so happy that Dolly didn't get a siren, which means that probably, well, the interception had happened way before it reached you, which is amazing. So you didn't have a siren. That's amazing. It's good. So Patrick is writing, my father told me that strangely enough, he had fond memories about being in a bomb shelter. Let me finish reading. In 1941, so lots of people being together, having for children, telling stories. I know what it's like to be in a bomb shelter too. This bomb shelter has been a lot more fun than my bomb shelter in Ashkelon. Well, there is definitely a lot more fun in the protected space in the basement in the house where I'm staying now in Tel Aviv. Well, you know, more people waking up in the middle of the night, you know, seeing each other wearing pajamas. So lucky for me, I was dressed. Yeah, so that's what it's like. Life is better without the bomb shelters when nobody launches missiles at you. But if they do, yeah, so the sound is garbled. Is it garbled for everyone? Apparently, well, looks like it wasn't. Well, if it wasn't the protected space, it could be anything because it was too loud, and I don't think my microphone is that sensitive and can just sound is perfect. Okay. So for those who are having issues with the sound, you may want to rejoin because apparently it's something most probably on your end than on mine. Nevertheless, so where are we? Where are we? We are by the Kotel, by the Western Wall, by the Wailing Wall, and I hate this term, Wailing Wall, because it's a derogatory term, because it's a mockery from mostly Christians that visited in the 19th century and saw Jews crying just against the wall of stones. Well, but that's it's trauma, right? One of the traumas, and this is now, well, the walls were never sacred for Jews. The temple was, but since there is no temple, and this wall is the closest and what's left of the temple, now this is sacred. But it's not about the wall, right? It's about what had been there, and it's still there in a way, underground. We did a tour with you. Let me show you. I'm not going to the praying plaza specifically because it's probably gonna confuse some ladies, but we'll see. So what I want to show you is the Western Wall tunnels. Let me zoom in. Western Wall tunnels. So underneath us, many, many meters underground, you still can find, yes, it's Western Wall. Wailing Wall is like wail, like you cry, you cry, you cry, but it's like you weep. So Wailing Wall is considered a bit derogatory, and Jews never really say that. They say Western Wall, or the Kotel Ma'arav, which is in Hebrew the same. So the Western Wall, this is the best term for it. The most neutral and just exactly what it is. It is a Western Wall of once of the temple that had been there. Yes, Western Wall of the Kotel, exactly, Sharon, exactly. So you can still find the big foundation stones exactly underneath this wall, and those would be exactly the stones from the Temple Mount period. So from the temple period. So archaeology never lies. Yeah, of course it's about interpretations and everything, but yeah. So I think for a native speaker it should kind of feel a little bit off, Wailing Wall, but nevertheless, archaeology never lies. So yeah, it's always about interpretation, but you can't lie there. So to any sentiments that there had never been a wall, well, no, it's wrong. There had never been a temple, no, it's wrong. There was a temple. Yeah, that's the idea. So we are running out of time. And there's just a few things that I wanted to point out here. Okay, I may need to go over there, but I won't be filming. I will be filming myself. I won't be filming the girls. I will just come a little closer to show you a few things, and then that will be it. So give me a moment. I'm going like that, above everybody's heads, as much as possible. I never felt comfortable filming here because this is considered the big open space, open air synagogue. You see? So the bigger stones are the stones from the Herod's second temple. So in fact, you don't really need to go underground. I mean, it's definitely worth going to the Western Wall tunnels, but the big stones, the regular shape, these ones, they are the stones from Herod times. And Herod is the one who rebuilt and extended the Temple Mount. So, and that means the temple. You don't even need to go underground to see that this is not just a wall, this is the wall. That's it. Okay. Dear rollers, you can also see some girls here. They leaving the place with their still facing the wall, because this is how much they appreciate the wall. So you can call this a Wailing Wall. Okay, so this is it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this interesting tour that was very timely. I don't know, I feel there's such significance to be exactly in the place most sacred for Jews under attack and seeing what we have just seen. I'm not Jewish, I don't have many of those sentiments, but I have my reason, right? And I see things and I read books and I learn things. So just you get the idea. So this is it. I don't want to make it a political tour. I don't want any of that. Quite an experience. Quite an experience indeed. So some tours for the upcoming weekend are already there. There are going to be some changes with regards to Saturday. I won't be telling everything now, but Misha and Grisha will be doing 2 live streams on my YouTube channel, one on Saturday and one on Sunday, because Tbilisi is celebrating Tbilisi Soba like a year ago. And so this year, for some reason, they're doing it not in the first week of October, but they're doing it in September, so a little earlier, which they could have asked me, to be honest, right? But it is what it is. So my boys are taking over. So I hope you will be able to join them and have fun, because I most probably won't be able to join them because I will be busy with something, but I will tell you later. Yeah, and I will be sending out the newsletter with the schedules once I put everything together and just put it up on my website. Thank you everyone for your wishes. There is a link to my website in the pinned comment on the top, as well as my PayPal, and you can buy me coffee or send the PayPal donation. So once again, a shout out to my sponsors. If you missed sponsors get together, the recording is already there on our secret playlist. If you are my sponsor and you never got a notification about the meeting, please reach out to me. And also just go through, if you have a minute, please check if your sponsorship is active, because sometimes it gets disconnected by Stripe automatically, and neither you nor me are notified about it. So that's a bit weird, but that's what it is. Thank you so much, everyone. I will keep you updated, and now I need to run because I have one more Zoom to teach, and then I'll be heading to Tel Aviv. I'm not sure what it is. I think I have a sunburn. Oh no, I hit my nose in the dark today because I woke up at like 4 in the morning because I needed to get dressed and get ready just for the first train, and I just kind of brushed against the back of the car of the bed. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Yeah, I didn't see it. I mean, I'm not sure what it is, or maybe it's a sunburn, but I actually wear a thick layer of SPF too. No idea. Anyway, I gotta run. I have a lesson to teach with one of my favorite students, and I will see you very soon. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been quite a tour. Indeed. I should probably turn it into reels. I should probably cut out this, cut this part and make it into reels so people see what it's like. Bye bye, everyone. Sorry, the last part was kind of crumpled because of the siren, but it wasn't my fault. Honestly, it was not. Bye bye.